We've all heard it. Learn from history or you're doomed to repeat it. But here's the problem. History isn't a simple instruction manual. Some people twist it, others bury it in jargon. So what is history really? And how should we use it without getting misled? Today, I'm going to tell you what history is. Thanks for joining me. I'm Liam, a retired history professor. History is a truthful story about something that happened in the past. A story a historian has faithfully imagined and written to explain its meaning. History is a narrative. History is literature, the story we can read. And honestly, it should be more exciting than fiction because it's true. Historians aim to communicate clearly, but there's always the temptation in academia to hide behind jargon, to keep history as an exclusive club where only insiders can play. Good historians resist that. They write in a way that the wider public can understand, because history matters too much to be locked away in the ivory tower. Now, history isn't a science. Historians aren't omniscient, and their evidence will always be incomplete. That's why they write with informed imagination, piecing together the fragments we do have to paint the best picture of what happened. Future historians may agree with most of what earlier analysts wrote, but they'll also find new evidence and refine the story. History isn't fiction, but it is faithfully told. The historian explains what they believe happened based on the most substantial evidence available at the time. Because discoveries are always possible, history is an endless rethinking, reviewing, and revising of our understanding of the past. Consider the strange behavior of some of the people of Salem, Massachusetts in the so-called Salem witch trials of the 1690s. For many years, some thought the cause was a hallucinogenic fungus in rye bread, which most historians now dismiss. Current consensus is that Salem's strange behavior arose from war trauma, social division, and political insecurity, not a biological toxin. Also proven incorrect is the predominance of Puritan theology caused the hysteria over witches. We now know it was just the opposite. Salem actually lacked the strong Puritan leadership that other New England towns had. Historian John H. Arnold put it well. History is above all else an argument. It's an argument between the past and the present, an argument between what actually happened and what we believe it means. Arguments matter because they create the possibility of change. But change must be supported and truthful. History has to be truthful. Not everyone who calls themselves a historian is faithful to the craft. Some cherry pick evidence to serve a pet political or moral idea. Whether their cause is noble or not doesn't matter. If they exaggerate or ignore evidence, they are deceiving their audience. Howard Zinn's A People History of the United States is an example. Historians across the ideological spectrum criticize Zinn for unjustified selectivity. Sam Weinberg, who's a Stanford historian, said, Zinn doesn't trust students to think. He spoon feeds them his interpretation as if it were the only possible one. He's not giving them history, he's giving them propaganda. Zinn published his work in 1980. Many have said his book became the Pandora's box that spawned many other histories like his. Many are outright frauds. People who use history only to push an agenda. That's not faithful storytelling, and it's not history. Examples are the New York Times, Nicole Hannah-Jones' 1619 Project, and David Barton's reactionary counter-narratives to Zinn. Opposite ends of the political spectrum, but both miss the mark as history. My doctoral supervisor, who was a great historian and mentor, taught me that a historian is like a detective who gathers evidence about what happened, but also has to interpret what it means. Once the evidence is collected, it's almost like a great debate in the historian's mind or in conversation with other historians. No one has all the evidence, so historians must be thoughtful and imaginative. Now, imagination doesn't mean making stuff up. It means using the most substantial evidence to portray the past faithfully. Sometimes historians even present multiple possibilities, but they always tell you the one that is best supported by the facts we know right now. That's why the past is knowable in meaningful ways, even if it's never knowable in full. Let me tell you a painful personal story of my own historical imagination, which ended up, well, you'll see. During my PhD studies, I became fascinated by Michael Servetus, a notorious 16th century heretic who eluded authorities until his capture in Lyon, France, where he made a dramatic escape through an outhouse. Sorry, too much information. Servetus in his letters often taunted both Protestant and Catholic leaders, including John Calvin, the brilliant reformer of Geneva, who warned him not to come to the city due to the harsh laws that awaited him. Despite Calvin's advice, Servetus ran from the outhouse to Geneva, was arrested, tried, and executed by burning at the stake, even though Calvin advocated for a more merciful punishment. The execution led to criticism of Calvin, with many believing he had purposely drawn Servetus to his fate. I sensed a deeper story, suspecting that libertines had encouraged Servetus to discredit Calvin. I aimed to uncover this plot, but failed to find supporting evidence for my theory when I submitted my seminar paper. I had to remain true to the historical facts, acknowledging my imaginative ideas had no evidence. History writing requires such rigor, and perhaps others may succeed where I could not. What a title I had for my paper, too. Michael Servetus, the Spanish moth, drawn to the flames. Here's the paradox. History is both objective and subjective. Historians aim to be faithful to their craft. They set aside their biases as much as possible, and they're transparent with readers about what biases might still linger. That's the objective side. But perfect objectivity? It's not possible. Historians never have all the evidence, so they make the best argument they can with what they've got. And yes, a future historian may discover new material that changes the story. The great 19th century historian Leopold von Ranke dreamed of telling history as it actually happened. But we know today that history is not a science, never will be, and never should be. And yet, when done faithfully, it's still reliable and trustworthy. I said at the beginning, history is a truthful story about something that happened in the past, a story a historian has faithfully imagined and written to explain its meaning. History means something. Learning history enriches our understanding of who we are because it is, in a sense, our story. We often say we should learn from history, but what does that mean? History sharpens our minds as we wrestle with what happened and how it changed the world. But there are no simple lessons because people make history and people are complex. Still, history protects us. It helps us avoid being misled by those who misunderstand the past or deliberately twist it to serve their own agenda. So what good is history? I'll answer that in my next video. If you enjoy this sort of discussion, please give the video a like. Better yet, leave a comment and subscribe. Please be my guest and join the community. It's free and easy. Go to the History Bro OS channel page, scroll down all the way to the bottom and leave a question or comment. I often also leave a This Day in History post for your edification.